Kicking it with KeKe. Kicking it with KeKe. Kicking it with KeKe. Full of personality. Switching up the storyline on God, we making history.
Writing books, changing lives, one day at a time. Put your problems to the side. Enjoy yourself. Free your mind.
Kicking it with KeKe.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, Life, Love, and all that other shit. I am your host, KeKe Chanel, award-winning author, lifestyle blogger, and certified life coach. The overall theme for Kicking It with KeKe is all about personal development and mindset. When we operate as our best self, we go through life and live it more abundantly. So that is the overall theme for this podcast. And I have a special guest that I'm joined with today, Joy from Joyful Connections Life Coaching. Hi, Joy. Thank you for coming to Kicking with me. I'm
Thank you
doing
for having me
well.
on your platform. Thank you so much. How are you?
Absolutely. I'm doing well. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you this ain't your first time, so you already know how I do. Go ahead and tell
Yes.
the people who you are.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you for your time and attention. My name is Joy Harris, and I am an empowerment life coach of Joyful Connections Life Coaching. And what I do in my practice is help people who have trouble finding and using their voice effectively, help people who feel unseen and unheard. I give them a safe place to come and be vulnerable and just share their story, whether it's man, woman, teenagers. They can come there, and I help them with accountability plans. I help people who are having a lack of confidence and just have trouble showing up for themselves. So I help them to have the confidence and the courage to do that and to let them become safe and comfortable in their vulnerability and use it as their superpower. And that's what I do in my practice.
That's amazing. And I'm glad that you talk about vulnerability because I did a post and it was talking about be careful who you're vulnerable with, because sometimes those people can use your moment of weakness
Yes, they do.
against you as ammunition when you feeling low or whatever. I just had that happen with a friend of mine, and I don't think that we'll ever be friends again because it was just so much harsh words that were spoken, and it's
Yes.
almost it broke my heart. Like my heart is it hurts. So let's talk about that just a little
Yes,
bit, like
please.
knowing who and when to be vulnerable. What can you speak to listeners? Because I know God has taken us in a different way because we had a totally different topic, and we're gonna get into that too.
Let's
But
do it.
let's talk to someone who may be listening who feels like their vulnerability cannot happen because people have always burned them. What would you say as an empowerment coach?
As an empowerment coach, I feel that's why people hire coaches in the first place, because what we're trained to do is to be unobjective, and we are trained to be just having a listening ear, be active listeners, and we're not there to give advice, and we're not there to give our opinion. And we are just there. We are just hired, and people come to us because it gives them a safe place to speak. Because sometimes when you speak to family or friends and you feel so comfortable that you can be vulnerable and share your vulnerability, which is really hard to do in the first place, it's really hard to talk about those things. And then sometimes they'll weaponize it against you.
Yeah.
Whether it's during a fight or sometimes it's just unwarranted opinion that you didn't ask for.
Absolutely.
And so therefore, I feel like that's why you have to be very careful about who you can be vulnerable with, or actually, me personally, I'm comfortable with vulnerability, period, right?
Yeah, me too.
So if I share something with someone and they do something like that, like you said, it just will affect their friendship. But it doesn't make me go run and hide, because it's my vulnerability. That's why it's called my vulnerability. It's my story. It's my issue that I'm sharing.
Exactly. And that's how I feel about it. I thought enough of you to be vulnerable with you in that moment, because we're human. Life happens. We have certain situations that hurt, and grief is a process. So the fact that not every day is going to be a sunshine and rainbow type day,
No, it's
fooling
not.
yourself thinking that life is like that. Yeah,
It's
you can
not.
make the best out of it, and you can always stay in that hot, positive mind frame. But at
Exactly.
some point, you need to have someone that says, hey, it's going to be all right. Not that you need to get over it, you need to let it go and all of that nonsense, because it makes me feel like you're a heartless person and I don't mean anything to you. So now that that mask has come off, it's like, you know what? My heart is broken because I valued that friendship so much. But it is what it is. You didn't think enough of me to mince your words, to throw it back in my face, to say all of these hurtful things. So why do I need you in my life?
You know what it makes you feel? Because it brings a whole bunch of different things. What it does is makes you feel like, wow, this is how you've been feeling all along.
And that's how I take
so
it.
you may like, man, you've been feeling this while the whole time I've been telling you these things, maybe at different times. And so now today your mouth spoke what was in your heart, which is which is an act of God. He wants us to see the people who's really there and who's not, because our seasons change, and as you climb higher, which you are doing, and you're elevating, that doesn't make everybody happy, even if they are like your best friend, sister, whoever. Sometimes, so when they see you elevating and they see they're kind of still staying baseline, or you're just doing okay, but everybody's kiki, that kind of makes people, their heart speaks, brings out, their mouth will speak before they really get a chance to kind of taper it. But it was just time for you to see that was God pulling a cover off. So that friend probably has reached her season with you anyway. So goodbye.
I think the season is over. I think the season over because I prayed for it. I've been going through extensive training to grow as a coach, for I can help my clients and stuff in my business. And one of the prayers that I prayed in the training before both of the trainings is, God, if whoever it is not for me in my next season of elevation, let them be revealed and fall off by the wayside.
And here you are.
Never thought in a million years that person would be one of them, but it is what it is, you know. And I was sad about it, but now I've accepted it. You know, so not everything lasts forever, and it's okay.
It hurts you to find out, because what hurts you to find out is because being like how we are, we always put so much into our friends. We always think we make them walk on water, sometimes even when they don't. Okay.
Yeah.
But we do that. And then when they let us, it's a letdown to be like, wow, I put you higher than you really belonged. But because I believed in you, that I put you up that high, because that's how you were, that's how I considered you to me. But then when they show you them, and it's that fall down, when you see that, it's really hurtful.
Yeah, I thought that the connection was mutual. And I realized that now it wasn't. Yeah. But I mean, we could talk about being vulnerable all day long, but that's not why we're here. I hope that what we just said has impacted or inspired someone to realize that people will hurt you, and hurt people hurt people. Regardless of if you say that you're a positive person, if you always having a good day, that's fine and dandy. But if you're doing that to cover up something that's deep within, to mask your sadness or whatever else you're going through, you're gonna always hurt people, because you don't see how you play a part in anything. You don't take accountability for anything. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about as a topic, is finding strength during your storm. Because we all go through a stormy season. We have to have a rainy season in order to reap a harvest, because we need that water to help things grow. So when it comes to finding strength in your storm, what can you say to the listeners? What can Joy say about this topic?
Joy has been in many storms, and for me, what works for me is just having a spiritual relationship, because I've had to learn that I used to try to handle and do everything on my own, because I thought I was strong enough to. But I think the storms come to show you that you do need someone bigger than yourself, and that be whatever religious beliefs you have. Mine is God. Jesus, God. So that's it. Show when I feel like I'm being activating and acting in my own strength, like my own work. It's my money. I'm holding my own world together. When I get in that mindset, and I forget about my prayer life sometimes or whatever, those storms come. And I think they come so the Lord can be like, okay, hello, I'm over here. Right. You're forgetting about me. I'm the one that's doing. So he troubles your water sometimes to bring you closer to him. So that's what I rely on, is my faith and that. And I always have to keep an inner joy, because that's why I did name my business Joyful Connection. That my name is Joy. So that reminds me to have joy anyways, even though when, like a weeping endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So that I remember that, because if you just base your happiness on what's going on good and what's not, you're going to be unhappy a lot. But when you have an inner joy still, when you don't let that die, you're going to get happy again, because you're going to work through it. Just makes you dig that much deeper to get to that joyful spot again.
And I'm glad that you I'm glad that you say that, because most people confuse happiness with joy, and it's
Totally
totally
different.
different. For me,
Mhm.
I find joy in everything.
I do.
A lot of people depend their happiness on somebody else. Like, if you
Yes,
can't make yourself happy, how can you expect somebody else to make you happy? It may be
exactly.
okay in a season, but eventually that's going to get tired, because if you don't know what makes you happy, how do you
Mhm.
know that you're happy about with this person or with that
Mhm.
person or with
Yes.
this, business or whatever? So
Mhm.
you have to learn how to find the joy in everything in life,
Everything, because
good,
nobody can
bad,
make.
and the ugly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nobody can make you happy, and it's not their responsibility.
It's
You have to be
not.
already a whole happy person and a complete person. That means you have to do your own work. And then
Hmm.
whoever you meet that comes through your life, they can add happiness to what you already have, and to your joy and happiness for yourself. But no, it's
Hmm.
no one's job to make you happy, because one day when they can't be there, and then you go
Then what?
down and doom and gloom. So
Hmm.
you can't
Hmm.
depend on that. You got to have your own. You got to find your own happy, you know,
And that
and your
starts
own joy
that starts with self.
is inside.
And if
Yep.
you're not happy with yourself, if you don't like spending time by yourself and doing things
Yes.
with yourself, pouring into yourself, loving on yourself, you might want to go and get some therapy, speak to somebody, find a coach or something like that to figure out why that
Mm-hmm.
is. Because until
Mm-hmm.
you know your why, you're not going to be able to figure out the how.
Exactly.
How you going to get through it if you don't know your why?
Exactly.
So yeah, I love that. I love the happiness and the joy, and I'm glad that we're on the same page, because
Yes.
a lot of people have that confused. So anyone who's listening, if you want to leave it in the comments, let us know what your definition of joy versus happiness is. We would love to
Mm-hmm.
hear that. Or you can email it to KeKeChanel2012@gmail.com, and I would love to see what you have to say. I love the feedback and joy, and we will go live and talk about your comments. We don't have to tell you. You could be anonymous. You could be anonymous, and we would talk about such and such said this, and this, and because it is relevant. It is relevant to have these conversations to make them normal.
Yes. That's exactly right.
Hmm.
It's really hard. Like you got to go to drastic measures sometimes. When you can look around your life and not seeing anything to feel joyful about. It
Hmm.
can be whether you even when it starts attacking your appearance, and you just start kind of showing up, your whole life just starts breaking down. You got to do something, maybe even just get out of bed. If you feel depressed, just get out of bed and throw on a colorful top, or throw on, something to kind of give you something. You got to just find little things to just kind of navigate your way back to your joyful spot. And it really is hard, but it's worth the work if you do it. It depends on how badly you want to find
You
it
have to
again.
want it. And that goes to one of my points that I want to talk about is mindset. When you finding that strength through your storm, it all starts with your mindset. How
Yes.
do you think about stuff? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the end goal? Okay, I'm in the storm. Let me put this umbrella around me, or get my raincoat on, or whatever. My
Yes.
my rain shoes. Sometimes you have to learn how to dance in the rain and jump through
Yes.
puddles and make the best out of the situation. So when it comes
Yes.
to finding your strength in finding strength in your storm, let's speak about mindset. Because we
Mm-hmm.
already know that, I'm a spiritual person, you're a spiritual person. We love
Mm-hmm.
God. We hope y'all love
Yes.
God. But if you don't, love on somebody, right? Long as you spreading that love.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so as a man thinketh, so is he.
Yes.
So when it comes to maneuvering through your storms, what can you tell listeners about having that mindset? You have to have a certain type of mindset to get through the storm.
Yes, you do. Well, it all comes with what you say to yourself. What all you let, like you said. So if you think that's what it is.
Mhm.
So if you think you're down and defeated, then that's what you're gonna be. If you tell yourself, even when things do look like you're down and defeated, just like when the storm was happening and Jesus had him come out on the water, because he was fine. So we got to have that same kind of mentality. Just kind of just step out in the water sometimes, and
Mhm.
don't think you're gonna drown. Just step out there. I'm not gonna drown. I'm gonna get through. I'm gonna get to the other side. And it's
Mhm.
all the mindset. Once you get that, and once you step out there, you're either going to sink or swim. So you
Right.
got to just kind of go for it sometimes, and you have to believe what you say. You got to really go over just like a supernatural believing, even if it's
Mhm.
not going to. You don't know. You just have to say it. I'm going to do better. My life is not going to stay in this dark place. I'm going
Right.
to live better. I'm going to be thriving very soon. You got to say, you can't be doom and gloom about it, because that's where you'll stay. And me being stubborn as I am, I don't like things and situations that have me down and have me where I can't get out. So that makes me have that more and more fight to get
Right.
out. When
And
I
I'm a
see
very,
them.
I'm a very, I'm a very resilient person. So
Yes.
I always see the bright thing on, bright side of
Yes.
things.
Yes.
And
Me
I'm
too.
not a negative person.
Hmm.
And because I've been there and done that, overcome that, I've been delivered from there. I wouldn't really call myself a negative person, but I just didn't give a damn about a lot of stuff back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just call it what it is. I didn't care because I was in a dark space. And it took
Mm-hmm.
me a while to get out of that dark space. And now that I worked myself out of it, with the help of the same friend that I just lost,
Yes.
I'm not going back there. And I think the fact that this person saw me in that spot, I don't know if they're just subconsciously thinking that I'm that same person.
They want you to be the same person sometimes because if you're not that same person, they feel you don't need them as much. And some people need you to need them. That makes them feel higher because they're not feeling good about themselves. So they need you to depend on them more. And KeKe is going and kind of depending on herself. Her mindset shifted even more. And KeKe's navigating her way out of things. You just kind of gave her a little feelings how you had. So she came with that. And it just took you to know what it just severed things. Because
Right.
you need her to recognize your growth. And you don't need an answer or an opinion. You just want to say what you were saying. You wasn't maybe looking for her to diagnose you. You just
Exactly. And
wanted
it
to
was
say how
nothing.
you
It
were
was
feeling.
just, I was having a bad day at
Yes.
that moment. And I reached out and was like, hey, I really wish, blah, blah, blah. And all hell broke loose. And I'm like, okay,
That's
dang, forget I
terrible.
said anything. Like,
That's terrible.
and anybody that makes you feel like that, like when you voicing your concern or asking for a little bit of grace or
Mm-hmm.
emotional intelligence, because it wasn't even it's emotional support that I needed. I just needed you to
Mm-hmm.
be emotionally intelligent about the situation and have some
Yes.
grace and say, you know what, I understand. It's gonna be okay. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
That's
when
all.
my friends are going through things like that, so you're gonna just, they want you looking when you went to her because you felt like she was a place of comfort. So that's why you went to her. It wasn't like you couldn't handle whatever. You just wanted her voice. Sometimes you want that person's voice. That person gives you a certain comfort that nobody else can. And then when they slap your hand, it makes you feel like you feel stupid. You feel because that's happened to me so many times. You feel like, dang, I wish now I feel worse than I felt before I called you.
Yeah.
So is that, but and then we got to consider we're going to give her a little pinch of grace because we maybe before you call we don't know what was happening with her, so it can be all of that, can go
Yeah, and
back.
I felt like that, but I
Yeah.
didn't voice that because
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much pain had been said. I mean, I had,
Mhm.
so many
Yeah.
harsh things had been said.
Wow.
I didn't even acknowledge that and say, you know what, I
Yeah.
know you always say that you're having a good day, but maybe you was not having a good
Mhm.
day at that moment. You
But
know,
it was
yeah.
still was no
It
reason to squash your mood and what you already felt.
Yeah, you
It
just hit
was
below the belt, man. And a
good.
lot of times when we go through storms, we hit below the belt ourselves because we don't know how to maneuver through that. So finding strength within you, that starts with having that self-motivation. And I
Mhm.
believe that having that self-motivation will take you so far in life. You have to be
Mhm.
motivated to push yourself even when you don't feel
You have
like you have to be self-motivated to love yourself even when you don't feel like you're lovable.
you have to.
You have to be self-motivated to say, you know what, you don't look so well in the mirror, but we here. I'm up. We're gonna splash some cold water on our face. We're gonna pray and ask God to get us back to where we was. I see the dark circles around the eyes, but they're not gonna
Exactly.
always be there.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
yeah, self-motivation, how important that is for Joy.
Oh man, I have to have that. It's like because I have to do that because I don't rely on people to do some things for me. Some things is really only that you really need to do because that way you'll be always tapped into it. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I'm having those moments, like when my mom died, I didn't care about nothing. I didn't care about my birthday. I didn't care if I had another birthday. It took about maybe 2 or 3 years for me to feel somewhat decent. I was just going through the motions. I was going to work
Mm-hmm.
from home, but then I realized, I have a son. I'm his mom, and so that motivated me also because I'm like I had my mom for 45 years. He only had me for what 17, 16, 17 years at the time. And I
Mm-hmm.
want him to have me longer in a healthy mom, not a mom that died because my mom died. So
Right.
that was my motivation was for me to, get up and like you said, put some water in your face, get with it, do something different to yourself so you can look in the mirror and at least like, okay, I don't look as ugly as I feel like I feel
Yeah.
inside. And that
Yeah.
starts for me right there. And then I was a hairstylist, for 30 years. So when I would go to work and see those clients, they represented family. So they really played a really great role too. Just going them because I know with them, I'm going to forget about what's going on because we're going to be
Right.
laughing, talking. I'm going to be
Talking.
sitting
Mm-hmm.
there. I do better when I'm feeling like that. I do better to serve other people.
Mm-hmm.
It helps take my mind off myself, and it makes me feel good because I'm making them feel good. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of helps me me to serve them and to
Right.
do for them. It takes my mind off of me because it's not all about me,
Right.
all the time.
And I think
You
that's the
know?
thing. When you realize that it's not all about you, you take
Mm-hmm.
yourself out of the situation and you give grace to other people and you
Mm-hmm.
become self-motivated and you say, you know what? I remember when I was like this. So let me make sure that I don't make this person feel this way.
Yes. It's
Or
not fair.
I remember when I didn't want to get up out of the bed because I lost somebody that I love, but I pushed
Mm-hmm.
myself knowing that that person wouldn't want me to do that.
Exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because my mom's words 2 weeks before she died, she told me, she said, I want you to go. She just looked at me, she was staring, and she said, I want you to go find your happy. I'm like, I am happy, but I had my world was collapsing. And she
Mm-hmm.
knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But me always being like, I am happy because I'll find the little scraps to keep myself happy. Well, like
Mm-hmm.
this could be all going on, but I'm happy about this. That's how I've always been. I don't let everything just go. I just find whatever. I always turn lemons to lemonade, no matter
Yeah.
what's going on in my life. And
Yes, you
so she's,
have
I want
to.
you to, yeah. She's, I want you to be happy, and I want you to go take care of your health. You've been taking care of me. I want you to take care of, and I remember those words. So when she passed 2 weeks later, I've been on that quest ever since
Mm-hmm.
to do it because that's what was her word. So whenever I let myself get too down, I remember she wants me to find my happy. She would not want me to live like this because she's in paradise with my dad. So,
Right, right. And you
so
have to lean on that, but the
yeah,
grief it sneaks up on you. You
it
may be
does.
having
I don't know.
like months and months of happiness, and then all of a
Yes.
sudden you have that day where it's just overwhelming.
Yep.
That's
And
okay.
yeah, just go. If you have that kind of day or that moment, it comes over like a wave. Ride with it. Don't try to suppress it and make like whatever. If you feel like crying that moment, fine. I used to see something simple as Dole fruit cups. The little, because I used to buy her those, and I would see something like that could mess up my whole day or
Yeah.
mess up some hours in my day because I saw that and whatever. But that's normal. So
Mm-hmm.
that's your vulnerable moment. Write it out, and then you're not gonna feel like that necessarily all day because of that.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
just write it out though when it comes, acknowledge it and embrace it. That's
Exactly.
how you be. If those are your feelings, you're not being an imposter, acting like oh everything's happy. Everything ain't always okay all the time, so that's
Oh,
okay also.
let's get into it. Everything ain't always okay all the
No, it's
time.
not.
Life, I mean, because life be lifing. We get
It does.
curveballs, we get lemons, we have to try to turn them into apple
Yeah.
juice and all this kind of stuff. And that's a great trick. I heard Kimora Lee Simmons say that she was like, when life give you lemons, make apple juice and leave them wondering how the hell you did it.
I like that.
Yes, I took that and I was like, that's what I'm talking about
I
because
love that.
not every day is gonna be that perfect day.
That's right. Some days you wake up like that. You wake up and nothing's even happened, but you don't know something in your sleep. You might have had, sometimes I would have a dream about my mom or dad, and I would wake up in the morning already to feeling like blah, and I may have a crying moment. Then I lost my best friend, a year and a half ago. So those moments I could be cooking because she and I used to cook while we were on the phone. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I'm cooking, it'll drop on me. I'll be like feeling like, oh, like,
Yeah.
man, is this really reality? My friend is gone. But I don't let it roll out. I think about how proud they would be of me doing something different, me being a coach now, me
Mm-hmm.
packing my life, had the courage to move, and me being
Mm-hmm.
healthier. And so I try to shift that so that I don't let my whole evening go down the pipe for that.
Right.
And that's it. Just feel
Right.
it.
You're finding the strength through the storm. Like,
Yes.
because those storms will come, and it all depends on what type of storm it is how you're gonna be rocked that day. It may be
Mm-hmm.
just a thunder shower, then you might have a hurricane, then it turns into a tornado, then you got a tsunami. It's all types of storms that you
Yes.
endure in your life. But you have to realize, okay, I'm in a season of my stormy season, but my winning season is on the horizon. Because think
Yes.
about it, have you ever been so down and gloomy,
Oh,
and
God.
then a week or two from then you have a powerful breakthrough?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, I do. It's just like it's like when he says he never gives you more than you can bear. But
Mhm.
sometimes when you're in it, you're like, God, really? You think I can handle this much?
Oh, let's
That's
go.
what I
Like,
was like, dang. I'm
like
like, wow. I was thinking, is that
Lumi.
statement really true? Sometimes I'm like, is that really true? Because I don't think, I mean, the way I'm feeling this much suffering, but then I think about he suffered. I have to think about that.
The ultimate
And then
suffering.
Yeah, he suffered a lot for us. So
Mm-hmm.
then when I feel like I'm hurting even more, because I had some medical things where I wasn't even able to get out the bed some days. And I'm like, God, are you really here? And he lets you know I am here. And then when you get, next thing you know, it's like he makes a
Mm-hmm.
sudden move. And then things just in a blink of it just change. And you're like that, and then it's over. It's like you start having relief, things start turning around. Then the mountain you're climbing, you look up like, wait a minute, I'm at the top of this. I got
Uh-huh.
up.
Yep.
And then when on the other side, it's always like all these blessings. When you get there, it's like getting to the finish line,
Yep.
and you're just like, I did it, you know. And then you look back at the suffering you had. You're like, man, if for this here that I just got to and tapped into, I would go through that again. If now I know how the outcome was going to be. You know,
Yep.
it's also when you're suffering, you don't see it out. But then when you get over and see that what is came from it, then you say, I want to go through that again and have that moment again. You can go through it even better. But it's just like you have to go through to get to. You just have
You
to
have to go through to get to.
get to.
Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, you have to go through to get to.
Let that resonate with you guys. Like that just gave me goosebumps. Like for real.
You
You
have to
have
go
to.
through to get to.
Mm,
Just like there was the scripture about when they were the brothers that was tried in the fire, but they came out gold. You're
mm-hmm.
gonna have to go. You're gonna get burnt. You're gonna hurt. But you're gonna turn out gold, pure gold, and that's a very rich, that's a very great thing. So it's like you got to go through that. So you got to. So for me, it takes all those things for me to remember all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Those are scriptures that my parents used to give us, so we can. He said those are going to be here when we're not here. You're going to need those. You know,
Yeah.
and so I just always hung on to certain things or stories or parables that I heard, and that's what has gotten me through because I've been through a lot of storms, like we all have,
We
and
all
then,
have. And if we
and it
keep
didn't destroy
living,
me. Yeah,
it's not gonna stop.
it didn't
We
destroy
just
us. We're still here to talk about them.
yep.
That's the great part. We made it through. It shows you how resilient. And when God is going to elevate you to other things that He has, because there's so many gifts that we haven't even tapped into yet.
Right,
But
right.
it's like when He get ready to activate next, one, like, okay, now KeKe or Joy is getting ready. I got to take them here. They don't know about this gift, but I got to prepare. It's like a boot camp. You got to go
Right.
through all this here or whatever. He's going to gear you up to be able to handle the blessing He has coming for you. So you got to
Absolutely.
go through it. Once you learn that, you just like, okay, I'm going to go through it. You know, you go into it better knowing that there's going to be a great outcome.
Right. And then and it's like we're coaches. So if we don't go through anything, how can we coach other people out of it or
Yes,
through it?
yes,
You know, and that's my whole purpose is unlocking mental baggage. Like you have to unpack that mental baggage in order to
yes.
figure out what has you stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
if I never have any mental baggage or if I've never had any, how can I help other people maneuver through it and go through it and unpack their own? If I
Yes.
never go through any storms, or let's just say if I don't admit that I've gone through storms, people gonna look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Like you ain't
So how
never
you
been
gonna
through
talk to
nothing.
me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you ain't never been through nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's what made me want to be a coach. I always wanted to be. I was a person to help people, but I didn't really know about coaching. So
Mm-hmm.
some like pandemic, you start hearing more about life coaching, and I was like, man, I've been doing that for free already. But
Free.
it just
You
makes
hear
you,
me?
being a stylist. I did that for 30 years in my chair. But it
Yeah.
makes I always thought my life had to be perfect first, but I learned that I'm the perfect candidate to be a life coach because of the things I did come through and overcome. Now I can reach back and help someone else come through and show them that it can be done and how I did it and kind of help them along through too. So, because I've already been through it. So that's what makes us really a great coach is because we can go from experience on some things.
And you know what
We know they
you
can
know,
overcome.
I have realized, which I did some training with Tony Robbins. I don't know if you're familiar with Tony
I've heard of
Robbins.
him.
He's like
Mhm.
the ultimate life coach. He
Yeah,
started the
I've heard
coaching
of him.
scene. Like, and I was
Yes.
able to train with him for a whole week. And he
Awesome.
said that his life changed when he made his worst day his best day.
You have
You
to do
have
that.
to do that. You have to find strength to pull from the happy times in order to replace that sadness that you had on your worst day to
Hmm.
make it your best day. And that for
Yes.
him, that was he didn't grow up he was poor. They didn't have a lot of food to eat. Someone
Hmm.
came to their door during the holiday season and brought food. But his dad was so prideful, he threw it out.
Oh,
And he was like, why would you let your pride get in the way for feeding your family? And he
wow.
said that that right there inspired him to go and try to do something with his life because he didn't want to be hungry again. And when he was able to bless another family who was dealing with some of the same things that his family went through and saw the joy that they they had when he dropped off the groceries and things. Although he kept it anonymous, he didn't tell them that he was the one who did it. He said that
Mhm.
touched him in a way that he knew he wanted to feed families who were less fortunate. And
I
now
love that.
he's in, fed over 1 billion families.
I want to do that one day too. I love doing that, like feed the homeless people.
Hmm.
But when you just said, I remember my worst moment, like you said, make it your best day. The next morning, I had to get up and go. The next day, when you come to realization, I'm like, man, my mom really did die last night. But
Hmm.
the next day, that Monday, I still had because I make treats and stuff like chocolate covered strawberries and stuff.
Hmm.
Well, I had someone who had already had placed that order, and I wanted to say, I can't make those for you. But this was a 90-year-old, 100-year-old lady's birthday party at a
Mm.
nursing home, and I had signed, they had hired me to make all these strawberries. So I still had to get out of bed, knowing my mom died last night, had to go to the store, and it was so terrible. I went in that store and I couldn't even see for crying tears.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, a guy had a ram in the bush. This lady came. I never saw her again. She came over. She was like, "Dear, are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I was. I didn't know how I was gonna make those strawberries, big
Hmm.
platters." And she just started. She said, I just told her what happened. My mom passed. She said, "Can I pray for you?" And I was like, in the grocery store because I couldn't even see my way through
Yeah.
tears. And
Yeah.
that lady prayed for me, and I was able to pick up my supplies and chocolate and strawberries. I went home because I said, my mom is gone, but somebody else's mother is 100 years old, and they
Yeah.
want to celebrate her. So, Joy, get over, move here. Yes, your feelings are important because this is something major, but do this. And it made me feel that little bit of joy just make while I was making them for what it was for. And I was like, that was good. And it just made me, so that reminded me of that moment when you said that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And now you can share that story with someone to
Yes, I
help
never even said
inspire
it
them.
again.
It's like
Yeah,
paying it forward. Like you never know what people dealing with. I
yes,
speak to people on a daily for my job, and you just never know. Sometimes they irate. It all depends on your tone of voice, how you present them, how you treat them, how you interact with them, and they can turn their day around. Because at the
exactly.
end of the day, you didn't do it to them. They just
Yes.
frustrated because you don't know how many people they done spoke to that didn't have any grace for them, how their
Hmm.
day was going. You just never know how people's day
Exactly.
is going. So be
You don't
careful how
know.
you treat people because you just never know when you might find yourself in a situation where you need someone. And the main people
Exactly.
that you push away or that you treat like shit will be the ones that can help you say, you know what, I got you.
Yes. I kind of
Mhm.
made a post this morning about it was a guy, it was a reel that I saw, and he was talking about how you treat people. And I was thinking about how those are the people who mistreat people just because they want to. Those
Mhm.
are the ones that end up sick in the hospital alone and in nursing homes with no visitors. I used to work at a Alzheimer facility. And those people, the crotchetiest ones, their own kids didn't even care when they died. We would call them and say, okay, because they were so terrible to them. So you do
To
have to be
them.
careful how you treat
Mhm.
people because you don't know who's going to bring your last glass of water. You don't know.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's anything. I mean, friend or foe, be careful who you treat. And I think because I'm an empath and I feel strong, and
Me too.
I care too much. I give
Me
people the
too.
benefit of a doubt too much. I had to learn recently that I can't keep doing that to myself. I cannot keep allowing people to hurt me
I
by
did the
caring
same.
too much. I
Wow.
care too damn much. KeKe, you
Yes.
care too much.
Yes.
It ain't that serious. But that's just
Yes.
who God made
It
me.
is that serious. That's how you were made. But we just have
Hmm.
to learn how to taper. I'm exactly identical what you just said. That's
Hmm.
me.
That
And I've learned though, because I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna never stop being me because I love that part about me. I'm just
right
going to be me with certain people. I can't be all the way me with
with
everybody. That's all.
everybody.
You gotta learn how
Absolutely.
to be more discerning of who you can be that for. But I'm not gonna never stop being an empath because I am that. I cry when I heard the stuff on the TV with the kids. I
Oh
don't just look
yeah,
at the
yeah.
stuff. I
Like
look at more the
anything, like
yes.
my friends can be having a bad day and I can feel their emotions,
I'm
and here
sure.
I am. I'm turned into a big crybaby. And I've
I
always
cry
been an
with them.
empath, but I think that the closer I get with God and finding, walking in my purpose and,
Mhm,
just going back and healing the inner child inside of me. Shout out
mhm.
to Lady Key. Her juicing challenge was amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
it it just gives you a different perspective. It makes you
Mhm,
it makes you see people's pain in a different way.
exactly. Yep.
And
It gives you more
I'm not
compassion.
apologizing for it, man. I mean,
No, don't apologize.
and it's
It's
your loss. If you listening, that friend of mine, well, ex-friend of mine, it's your loss, man.
give her.
Gotta put that
I've
out
been
there.
passing out. I've been passing out sympathy cards, honey, because I've been. That's what I call it now because I saw that on the real. everybody gets the sympathy card because when I come to people's life, I add value and love a bunch. So if you
Ooh.
can't handle that, then it's not my character flaw, is yours. So you got sympathy card because you lost me. I didn't lose you. You lost me.
And that's what I keep telling
And that's it.
myself. I don't lose people, they lose me,
You
because
lost me.
especially if I didn't do anything to you, and I don't have any malicious intent for hurting
No,
anybody.
never. You want her to end.
And I'm
You
like,
know,
okay, all right, I got you. This is how you
but
always felt about me, so this is what it's gonna be. I'm over it now.
just recognize this here and take it for this also. You're like as you're growing into KeKe, who KeKe is. You had your I saw man. I've been seeing a difference with you. But when you had your birthday, KeKe stepped in another realm. Okay, and so if I saw, and I'm not even with you every day, I
Mhm.
just saw something that says, she been on fire. And me too. I had my 55th birthday in January, so it's
Yes, the
went to a whole
January
nother
babies.
level.
Yes.
Yes, yes. But you just kind of, it's like your light was already on, but it turned up even more. Now you got the LED lighting. So everybody, everybody can't handle it. The glass sunglasses they normally wear to look at you was fine, but now they're going to need some certain other ones, and they don't have those. So it makes
And
it hard to look at you because they're not moving. People get jealous when they see you moving. God has different blessings for us all.
I
He
don't
has
want
her
nobody else's
blessings.
blessings. I want
He got
what
hers. He got
mhm.
yours. He got mine's. And he blesses people in a different way. But at the
Different.
end of it, we all blessed in different ways. So this is your blessing. Be happy that you would have friend that blessing because blessings trickle down.
Yeah,
All right. So just
absolutely.
people don't know how to just. I celebrate people. If Halle Berry was standing here, I feel like nobody is better than me. I don't feel like I'm better than anyone else. I don't put myself lower than anyone.
I
But
tell
other
people
people are
all
not
the
comfortable.
time, I am my
I'm
own
me.
competition. I
Mhm.
am today's me is trying to be better than yesterday's me.
I always say that.
And if I'm blessed to see tomorrow, I'm gonna try my best to be better tomorrow than what I was today. And
Exactly.
I
You
am
know,
so genuine when it comes to that. I don't want nobody else's life.
I
I
don't want
want
nobody.
my
I love
life.
my life. I love my little crazy sweet life and my
Listen,
little
I
quirky
love
life.
my
I love
life.
it.
Like,
I love who I am.
can certain things be better? Yeah, but I
Of
still
course.
love my life.
Yeah, I love me. First of all, to love your life, you have to love yourself. I'm in love.
Yes.
I love me. I like me. I'm in love with me, and that's not a
Yes.
obnoxious way and in an arrogant
And
way.
it's
It's just
not.
I love who I am. I love the experience people have. I love when I walk in the doctor's office, everybody look up from their magazines like, "Who is this woman?" I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
because I know they see my spirit.
That
That's what I
light.
want. I want my
Mm-hmm.
spirit illuminates, and that's what I want.
Yep.
That's what God gave me. So I don't. I used to try to cover it up to make other people feel better because theirs was more lower. And now I don't. I don't cover it no more. I am who I am, and I'm going to let my light shine everywhere I go. I'm going
And
to
I
speak
used to, I
words of
used to, I used to, I used to
positivity.
hide myself. I used to hide myself because I didn't want to be seen at one point.
Girl, I would have never done this with you. I don't do camera stuff. I'm behind the scenes. I do lots of
I would have
magic behind
never
the
done
scenes.
this podcast either because I'm behind the scenes. I'm a writer. I
I do
write
lots
books,
of
and I
magic.
didn't even have to tell people I was writing books. But I was like, you know what? I'm proud of me, so I'm gonna tell
Yes,
everybody this is my books. But
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I don't need the limelight. I don't need all of the materialistic things. That's not who I am. I give thoughtful gifts, and if you don't see that, then it's just oh well. I
Yes.
saw this and I thought about you.
I do words. I give people. I mean, just randomly get them call when a friend. Just tell people. I love people to know how I feel about them. When I'm not standing over their casket saying it, I
Me
tell them how I feel
too.
about them. I'm like a walking Hallmark card. My friends always tell me that. But I know how to express myself, and that's one of my gifts, and I love that. And
I
there's
love it.
nothing
I
about me
mean,
that I shy
showing it
away
is
from.
one thing, but sometimes you have to say it.
Say it and hear it. It goes
Yes.
deeper into you, and you don't know what people needed that day. I like
You
to.
just,
I'm always depositing myself and seeds into others.
hmm
That gives me joy. That gives me joy to do that because I know how good words when someone catches me off guard and they say something. I'm like, thank you, think that. Wow, thank you. I get out teary eyed because I'm used
Yes.
to doing it for others, but when someone does it for me, I
It's
get all
refreshing.
I'm crying, baby,
Hmm.
yeah, because I'm really
Hmm.
touched by that. So
Right.
I just embrace. I don't care if I'm crying in front of people. I don't try to act like, oh, I'm okay. No, if I don't care. I embrace every and all parts of me, and it's
I'm
such a
not I'm not
beautiful
shrinking
feeling.
myself anymore. If either you
Never.
take me how I am or you don't take me at all. If I get
Yes.
choked up and I get emotional
Let
when
it
we're
out.
talking, I'm not holding it in because
It's
then it's gonna affect
beautiful.
me. It's gonna
It's
affect me.
beautiful.
I'm not a heartless person. I've never
Yeah.
been a heartless person. Even on my worst days where I just didn't give a damn about nothing, I was still not heartless. I treated
You're
people
not.
with kindness. I may have
Exactly.
not been good to myself at the time, but I treated other people with kindness.
I always
And
treated people better than I treated myself at one time in my life. That's when I wasn't fully knowing who I was. And well,
yes,
I knew who I was, but I forgot. I allowed life to let me forget who I was
yep,
because I
that
was so busy
storm.
taking care of everybody else's stuff and
Mm-hmm.
make sure you straight, you straight, you straight. And after I got them straight, I'm looking. I said, Lord, what? It's like you said, a tsunami of my. I said, what the? Well, Joy, where are you? What happened? Because I was so busy focusing. So now I still help people,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not gonna give you all of me. The
No,
same love I pour into you, I'm gonna pour into myself, and it's made all the difference. And I give
absolutely.
myself time. I deserve some of my own time too to work
Absolutely.
on
And
me.
that's one of the main ways that you find strength in the storm. You have to give yourself grace. You have to
Yes,
pour into yourself so that you can be okay
yes,
when there's lightning and thunder and clouds and
yeah.
all this roll in,
I have
because
to be
it will
okay.
happen. You have to
Yeah.
make sure that you're okay. And I
Because when
love
I'm
that.
okay, when we're okay, when I'm okay, the person I am, the pillar I am in my family's life and friends, when I'm okay, then the rest of y'all gonna be okay. But if y'all let me not get okay, everybody's gonna fall. It's gonna be a
Yep.
major thing. Because I'm like everybody, I'm kind of like the glue for everybody's my family, friends, the go-to. Somebody been texting me while I'm on here with you. When you
Mhm.
get a minute, can we, because people look to me for wisdom
Wisdom.
and for I'm gonna give them the truth. People are hungry for the truth, even though
Right.
the truth hurts,
Hmm.
but they're hungry for the truth and they got the right one to give it to them. I don't sugarcoat and I'm not mean with my delivery. But if
Exactly.
you
And I
tell
was just
me
about to
something,
say that. I was
I'm
just
going to
about
give
to
you the
say
truth.
that they will take it and receive it in love because the way that
I'm
you
always delivering in
present
love.
it.
Always.
Exactly.
I always
Absolutely.
pray before I talk to some people. And I make sure that God remove me and what I would do and think, then let me him download what I'm supposed to say to
Mhm.
this person that needs me. I do it in my coaching and everything. Lord, give me the words that's going to help get this person on the right track.
Yes,
And that's what I do.
absolutely.
I always had to tap in there. I'm on the morning prayer line, and every
Mhm.
morning at 5 to 6, and that's like my shower in the morning. I get shower with the word, then I get
Mhm.
my shower, then I
Mhm.
get dressed, and when I'm ready for the day, I'm ready to give people what they need and share
Ready
my
to
gift with the
look, you
world.
ready to embrace any storm that comes your way.
Hey, I can handle it. Yes,
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love
that's
it.
what I
Joy.
do.
This has been an amazing conversation. You
Oh
guys have
yeah,
been listening to Kicking It with KeKe, Life, Love, and all that other shit. We have been talking about finding strength in your storm. You already know I'm about to hit you with that on a personal note, like I always do for all my guests. What would your now self tell to your younger self about finding strength in your storm?
yes. Well, my younger self went through a lot of stuff with me because I was really damaging to myself because I was going by my body image that I was letting other people think they me to be like this little cheerleader and stuff. I always
Mm,
battled. So I'm over it, totally free of that. So I would tell my younger self that we were always okay. I was born okay. I was good enough
mm,
way back then in the womb. I was already good then. And so
right.
I would tell my younger self, I already told her I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry for so much stuff I put you through because you was already fabulous when you was born. All right. You was already good enough. And I had to learn that if I'm in God's image, I'm created in his image.
Mm-hmm.
He's my creator. And I had to learn to let what other people thought about me. Now I would say, you know what? If anyone has a problem with what they see about me or what they don't see or what they think they need to see more of, go talk to my creator and tell him he made a mistake on me.
Yeah, I
That's
bet you
what I would
won't.
do.
I
Yeah.
bet you won't.
So that's what I do now. If you think I'm not what you think I should be or good enough, then go talk to my creator and tell him that he made a mistake. And so that's what I
Absolutely.
would tell my younger person and tell my younger person that I still keep her happy because she's the one that keeps everything happy. She's the one that helps me navigate the storms because we're gonna laugh our way through it and we're gonna cry our way through it and she got a little more energy than my older cougar self has. And so she gets us through the thing. Well, not even cougar. I call myself a jaguar. I'm a different kind of
Hey, it is what it is.
yeah, so so she and I have a different relationship. She knows she's good enough, always was. I apologize for the damage and the self things I did to myself, terrible things, and the stuff the things I said to myself in the mirror as I looked at myself and didn't like what I saw. I always like who I was. I had a beautiful heart because I made sure of that because I
Mm-hmm.
worked on my inside a lot because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted that to outshine anything else. I was
Mm-hmm.
always in the inner beauty. I like the outer, but inner beauty is going to last. When if I get in a car accident, if I get in a fire, then what else do I have?
Right.
I don't want to
Absolutely.
just so I've always worked on that since probably 16. But I let her know that me and you are in unison. We are in unity. We are all right. We're great. We're better than all right, better than amazing. And we got so much to do. And I need her to help me get to where I'm going to the other side. So that's what she know we're in this together.
Absolutely. I love it. I
That's
love
what,
it. Listen,
yeah,
Joy, it has been a pleasure having you on
you
today.
too.
You're welcome back anytime. It's
Oh,
always
I
a
love it.
pleasure when we get together and kick it. Was there
Yes.
anything else that you would like to tell our listeners about today's topic of finding strength in your storm?
I just am going to tell them just go through it. The thing that you're fearful of the most, run to that. Because that's what, because anytime you're fearful of something, it's going to deter you from going to it. But that's where you need to dig deep, put your tennis shoes on, tie them up tight, and run to that thing. Because when you do it and you actually just say, I'm going to attack you, just do a running attack. Like if you're going to get in the biggest fight of your life and you got
Right.
to run, I don't care if you got to do that old swinging they did when we was in school.
Yeah.
Just run. Attack your storm like that. Like you get ready. You know what? I'm scared. I don't know how this fight's gonna turn out, if I'm gonna win it or lose it. But I'm ready to give it my all. And I guarantee when you give your all, that's enough. And you'll be on the other side of it. And so many blessings waiting for you on the other side, because it's a lesson that God's just trying to teach you and build more resilience. And you're trying to build more than you know that. And then we get broken sometimes. He gracefully breaks us, but not to hurt us. Because he's gonna when he reconstructs and put us back together, we're going to be like this reinforced building. We're going to be standing taller than the Ohio State building.
Mm,
We just Empire State building. We're going to just be even better. So just go through it, because sometimes he has to break us down, like just like you get a new cell phone, they got another edition. What's more editions of us too?
absolutely. I
It's more
love
to
that.
us.
I
It's
love
more
that,
to
Joy.
us.
Thank you for
Yes.
your wisdom. Thank you for your
Yes, it's more
insight.
to us.
Yes, and listeners, I implore you to go and connect with Joy. I will have all of her information in the show notes so you can connect with her on social media, as well as the information to work with her as a coach. But just remember, in my closing remarks, that broken colors still color.
They do.
Just because it's broken doesn't mean that it's scarred or it's defected, you know? So you are still relevant. Even in the
Yes.
midst of the storm, just go through it. Like Joy said, go in swinging and watch you get to the other side and experience that
Mhm.
flow of the sun shining on your face, and you
Mhm.
bask in that.
Yes.
We'll get to that winning season. We all have to
Yes.
go through the stormy season in order to get to that winning season. So with that
Mhm.
being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Make
Thank
sure
you.
you like, subscribe, follow, leave a review, and all the things. Until next time, purple hugs.
Thank you. I got one too.